Welcome back, learners. In this new class, today we have with us our own teacher and expert, Dr. Ajit Singh, for science. In that science, he is taking up the biology section, diversity of living organisms. Over to you, sir, for the class.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, learners and viewers. I am Ajit Singh from KVS. I am grateful to this NIS and KVS to provide me this platform to interact with you across the country. Today, I am taking the class of science of for secondary classes of topic diversity of living organisms. During this session, you will learn about diverse form of life. You will learn about what are the different groups we can arrange them for, what are the basis of classification, कैसे हम उन ग्रुप्स को क्लासीफाई करते हैं, इसका बेसिस क्या होता है, एंड रोल ऑफ बायोडाइवर्सिटी इन आवर लाइफ, एंड व्हाई एंड हाउ टू कंजर्व दिस डाइवर्स फॉर्म ऑफ लाइफ, व्हाई देयर इज नीड टू कंजर्व इट, इनकी जरूरत क्या है उसको कंजर्व करने की, और हम कैसे कंजर्व करते हैं, इन सब के बारे में आप इस सेशन के बाद में जानेंगे. दूसरा, students, as you know, when you go outside in your surrounding, you see many organisms. Some animals are wandering here and there, and many different plants you see in gardens and various places. Have you ever think how many forms of plants and animals are available on this planet? How many types of these organisms are available? We are sorry to say that nobody can perfectly tell this. Nobody can perfectly answer this. Why? There is estimate only. Somebody says it is about 10 to 15 million organisms are available on this planet, and one ecologist, famous ecologist Robert May, claimed about 7 million. But till today we know only 2 million. हम लगभग 2 मिलियन के आसपास ऑर्गेनिजम्स को जानते हैं आज तक, और क्लेम बहुत हैं. तो इसका मतलब ये है कि ऑर्गेनिजम्स बहुत हैं, लेकिन हमारे अभी जानकारी बहुत कम है इनके बारे में. फिर भी इसीलिए सब्जेक्ट की इम्पोर्टेंस बढ़ जाती है कि हमारे इस प्लेनेट पे रहने वाले ऑर्गेनिज्म कौन है, उनके बारे में हम जानें. तो इन दिस सेशन वी विल definitely get some idea about this. Now there is a term called biodiversity. This term was actually popularized by one ecologist, Edward Wilson. This term biodiversity means different forms of life which are present on our earth, enormous variety of organisms which are present in our earth. Scientifically it is termed as biodiversity. Bio means life and diversity means variety. Variety, diversity not in the form of size and shape of an organism, but also in complexity. What do you mean by complexity? कुछ animals, कुछ organisms single cell के होते हैं. Some animals are of single cell and some other are multicellular. Some are having no nucleus, some are having one nucleus or more than one nucleus. So different types of organisms are there and complexity is different. For example, bacteria is a simple single celled organism and humans are made up of trillions of cells. So you can see complexity. Bacteria simple cell, single cell, and humans trillions of cells. So other fields are also there where we can see diversity. Diversity in feeding. In earlier classes also you have studied about different type of organism which adopt different kinds of feeding mechanism. For example, in one class you have studied about autotrophic organisms and heterotrophic organisms. Autotrophic organisms those organism, वो organism जो अपना फूड खुद प्रिपेयर करते हैं अपने आसपास उपस्थित इनऑर्गेनिक रॉ मटेरियल लाइक कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एंड ऑक्सीजन से, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एंड वाटर से. So autotrophic organisms further may be grouped into two categories: chemotrophic and phototrophic. Chemotrophic means organisms which derive energy from chemicals like sulfur bacteria derive energy from chemicals. One is phototrophic. Phototrophic organism वो होते हैं जो सनलाइट को, सन एनर्जी को, सोलर एनर्जी को ट्रैप करते हैं और फोटोसिंथेसिस परफॉर्म करते हैं. Most of the plants on this planet are phototrophic. Other is heterotrophic. But heterotrophic, among heterotrophic organisms you can find out three different kinds of organisms: holotrophic, saprotrophic, parasitic. Holotrophic means which eat other animals, or all the five basic process of nutrition is followed in them. For example, what are the five basic processes? Ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, egestion. ये 5 प्रोसेस न्यूट्रिशन के होते हैं और ये सारे प्रोसेस होलोट्रॉफिक ऑर्गेनिजम्स में परफॉर्म किए जाते हैं. नेक्स्ट इज सेप्रोट्रॉफिक न्यूट्रिशन एंड पैरासाइटिक. Saprotrophic organism depend on dead, decayed, already decomposed material it takes, and it has to pay less effort for digestion, which are diverse on the basis of their food, which we have studied in your earlier classes also. There is more parameters on this on which diversity can be explained, like diversity in reproduction, asexual mode, sexual mode, and diversity in respiration, aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration. Some organisms take oxygen for respiration. Some organisms don't take oxygen for their respiration. Likewise, diversity in habitat. Actually, diversity in habitat, ये कहाँ पे ऑर्गेनिज्म रहता है, इसके मुताबिक, इसके अनुसार हम ऑर्गेनिज्म को क्लासिफाई कर सकते हैं. टेरेस्ट्रियल, एक्वेटिक. Aristotle has classified such organisms on the basis of this habitat: terrestrial habitat, aquatic organism, and aerial organism. So likewise, you can see different level of organizations. These are the some terms which will come in this chapter: biosphere, ecosystem, species. Biosphere is the place on the earth where organisms survive. Ecosystem, it's a different geographical region in which organism species live and interact with each other. So biosphere comprise of many ecosystems. Like all the places you know where organisms live, that place is called biosphere. And in ecosystem, there are specific geographical regions. For example, if we talk about desert ecosystem, pond ecosystem, likewise. Then species are the group of organisms which appear similar and can interbreed among themselves and produce fertile offspring. ऐसे ऑर्गेनिज्म का जो ग्रुप होता है जो एक जैसा दिखता है और इंटरब्रीड कर सकता है, इसको हम स्पीसीज बोल देते हैं. तो ये डाइवर्सिटी के कुछ फीचर्स हो सकते हैं कि वो ऑर्गेनिज्म पर्टिकुलर स्पीसीज से बिलोंग करता है या वो ऑर्गेनिज्म किसी इकोसिस्टम, पर्टिकुलर इकोसिस्टम में रहता है. तो इस तरह से भी हम इसको स्टडी कर सकते हैं. नाउ नेक्स्ट इज अबाउट लेवल ऑफ बायोडाइवर्सिटी. एडवर्ड विल्सन, a famous ecologist, have studied this biodiversity, various level of biodiversity, and three major diversity level he explained was ecological or ecosystem biodiversity. Ecosystem biodiversity means organisms are diverse in nature on the basis of ecosystem they are living. Even related organisms, कई एक ग्रुप के ऑर्गेनिज्म भी अलग अलग इकोसिस्टम में रहने के बाद अलग से नजर आते हैं और डाइवर्स नजर आते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, a very good example is about tortoise and turtle. You can see tortoise has clawed legs and turtles has flipper because they live in different kinds of places. Diversity of ecosystem. There are different type of ecosystem: forest, desert. You can easily classify or study the organisms, about organism, and you can say this type of organism I have seen in desert. In general, when you study science, you have studied in some class about camel. Where do camel live? Answer is camel lives in desert, because you have identified that organism on the basis of ecosystem. Species diversity. In some region, some geographical area, the climatic condition or the other parameters are so favorable that particular species or variety of particular species flourish in that area. For example, uh, in India, in Western Ghat, we can see large variety of amphibian. A particular type of species, amphibia species belong to class amphibia by frogs. There are many different kinds, and such kind of amphibian, they may not be found in any place on another place, another geographical area. Now, genetic diversity within a species. Sometimes it has been observed that a species has a gene pool. सभी स्पीसीज में एक जीन पूल होता है और सभी स्पीसीज एक जैसी दिखती है, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी उनके अंदर डिफरेंस होता है, एंड दिस डिफरेंस इज एट द लेवल ऑफ जीन्स. For example, in India, you can see about 1000 varieties of mango. Mango, we can say Mangifera indica, but different varieties are there. This type of difference, diversity is at the level of genes. As well as when we say about strain of rice, there are 50,000 strain of rice in India, about approximately. So all these are at genetic level. This diversity is at genetic level. Now, when we discuss about patterns of biodiversity, different diverse life forms, how we can identify that कि कहाँ पे कैसा होगा, patterns कैसे होंगे. तो पूरे अर्थ को, पूरे planet को हमने कुछ biogeographical region में divide किया है, and we can say these regions are different, and organisms find out in this region are specialized somewhat. For example, you can see in the screen there are 6 regions: Nearctic, Neotropic, Palearctic, Oriental, Ethiopian, Australian. On the map, you can see Nearctic region, generally North American region, Neotropic region, South American region, Palearctic, Siberian and European part, Oriental, Asian, Ethiopian, African part, and Australian belongs to Australian continent. These are the geographical region, and in this region, special type of organisms we can see. We have some example. For example, we can see elephant. Elephant we can see in Ethiopian and Oriental region. No other region we can find out large varieties or species of elephant. Kangaroo, we can find kangaroo in Australian region only. And but it is not fixed that some organisms will be find out only in one region. एक ही region में एक organism मिलेगा, ऐसा fix नहीं है. जैसे grass है, grass सभी region में होता है, but these regions it has been earmarked कि यहाँ पे कुछ organisms ऐसे मिल सकते हैं क्योंकि यहाँ के जो temperatures और ये सब हैं इस तरह से. Another is latitudinal gradient. Pattern of biodiversity में ये देखा जाता है कि जो अर्थ का latitude है, latitude means you know latitude of equator is 0, tropical lines, there is some degrees which are provided. So on the basis of latitude we can see some regions in tropical region. Tropical region means those regions which are near the equator. Equator के आसपास जो रीजन है उसे ट्रॉपिकल रीजन बोल देते हैं. पोल की तरफ बढ़ते हैं तो टेम्परेट रीजन आ जाता है, फिर पोल आ जाता है. तो जैसे जैसे हम इक्वेटर से पोल की तरफ बढ़ते हैं बायोडाइवर्सिटी कम होती जाती है, ऐसा ऑब्जर्व किया गया. तो so many regions are there. Next come about Indian continent, Indian subcontinent. We can see there is one word, hotspot. आप सभी ने ये वर्ड अभी हाल ही फिलहाल में सुना होगा, क्योंकि आप आजकल कोरोना का इफेक्ट ज़्यादा हो रहा है, तो हम ये देख रहे हैं जहाँ भी एक कोरोना का पेशेंट मिलता है तो उसे हॉटस्पॉट डिक्लेयर कर देता है गवर्नमेंट। लेकिन हॉटस्पॉट्स का यहाँ पे जो संदर्भ है, रेफरेंस है, इसका मतलब है वो प्लेस जहाँ पे बहुत सारे ऑर्गेनिजम्स, डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ ऑर्गेनिजम्स रहते हैं। दिस प्लेस इन बायोडाइवर्सिटी, in this reference of biodiversity, these places are called hotspots. And in India, we have two hotspots. One is Western Ghat and other is Himalaya ranges, especially northeastern Himalaya ranges, where we can see lot of biodiversity. Overall, in the world, about 34 hotspots are classified, and out of those, 2 hotspots are available in our country. Now we are moving to next section, that is classification of organisms. What is the meaning of classification? Classification का मतलब हुआ कि हम organisms को ग्रुप्स में डिवाइड कर दें, ग्रुप्स में उनके किसी बेसिस पे, सिमिलरिटीज या डिफरेंस के बेसिस पे हम उनको क्लासिफाई करें, वर्गीकृत करें। हिंदी में बोलते हैं वर्गीकरण करना। तो ग्रुपिंग ऑफ ऑर्गेनिज्म अकॉर्डिंग टू सिमिलरिटीज एंड डिफरेंस is termed as classification, and is an important part of this biodiversity chapter. Why important? As I have told you, about 10 million organisms are present, or 2 millions are present. So many number of organisms are available on the planet, and if we see or study each and every type of organism, it will become very difficult to study about them in our life. So what we have done, we have grouped organism in a we have formed group of organism on the basis of similarities and differences. When organisms are classified, we have developed some categories. For example, I am giving one analogy. एक analogy बताता हूँ। आप एक अगर स्कूल में पढ़ते हैं, वो एक स्कूल एक पूरा एक सिस्टम है, और उस स्कूल में आप जाते हैं तो आप किसी कक्षा के छात्र होते हैं। तो if school is one big group and you are the part of small group of that big group, you are also part of that big group also, but you are, when you go to 9th class, then you become member of 9th class. तो आपका एक स्कूल में कई सारा ग्रुप है, फर्स्ट टू 12th कह सकते हैं, तो 12 ग्रुप हैं। 12 ग्रुप में आप स्कूल के अंदर एक ग्रुप के मेंबर हैं, एंड ईच ग्रुप हैज फर्दर मेनी सेक्शंस, मतलब ईच क्लास के कई सेक्शंस हो सकते हैं, और उस सेक्शन में आप एक मेंबर होते हैं। तो इस तरह से हम कह सकते हैं एक बड़ा ग्रुप है जिसको हम स्कूल कह रहे हैं, उससे छोटा एक ग्रुप हो गया आपकी क्लास 9th क्लास से, और उससे एक छोटा ग्रुप हो गया उसमें अवेलेबल सेक्शंस। तो आप किसी एक पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन के मेंबर हो सकते हैं। लाइकवाइज, while classifying the organism, we have classified the organism in a categories. Here, what are the categories? Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. These terms, in reference to classification of organism, is called taxonomical categories, or taxa. Singular word is taxon. So each categories, in these categories, kingdom is the highest one, highest category, and it contains so many phylums. Phylums contains so many class. Class contains so many order. Order contains so many family. Family contains so many genus, and genus has so many species. So this taxon are in hierarchical order. जैसे जैसे हम ऊपर से नीचे की तरफ टैक्सॉन में आते हैं, जो उस ग्रुप के मेंबर्स होते हैं उनका रिजेंबलिंग फीचर ज़्यादा हो जाते हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर आपसे पूछें कि व्हाट इज द सिमिलरिटीज बिटवीन प्लांट्स एंड एनिमल्स, अगर ऐसा पूछेंगे प्लांट्स एंड एनिमल्स में क्या सिमिलरिटीज है, देन You can see they are living, they are made up of cells like this. Some similarities you can quote. But when you are asked what is the similarities between a man and tiger, because they both belong to same class. Plant and animal belong to different kingdom. And when we are moving lower, when we are moving same class, that is, what is the similarities between human being and tiger? In that case, you can say, you can tell many similar features, more in numbers. So as we move from higher taxon to lower taxon in a group, resemblance of feature increases among organisms. आपके बीच में resemblance, अगर आप दोनों, अगर कोई ऐसे organisms हैं, 2 या 4 organisms जो एक ही species के हैं, जो कि लास्ट है, लोवेस्ट है टैक्सॉन, तो वहां पे उनके फीचर ऑलमोस्ट 99% सेम होंगे. लेकिन अगर हम ऊपर जाते जाते हैं तो ये फीचर्स कम होते जाते हैं. तो these organisms which we are studying in this under this taxon, kingdom, phylum, all this taxonomical category, these organisms also express their evolutionary relationship. For example, अगर हम कहें कि एनिमल जो है क्लास मैमेलिया में आते हैं, या फिर रेप्टाइलिया एंड मैमेलिया, मैमेलिया एंड बर्ड्स, एव्स, they both evolve from reptilia. So there is one class and reptiles, and from reptiles birds and mammals evolve. This is established one, and some intermediary organisms are also example of this. तो ये जितने भी हम पढ़ते हैं organisms, ये सभी evolutionary relationship में होते हैं. Evolution का मतलब इससे कौन डेवलप हुआ है. अगर हम ऐसा क्लासिफाई करते हैं जिसमें हम इवोल्यूशनरी रिलेशनशिप को फॉलो करते हैं, तो हम ऐसी क्लासिफिकेशन को हम सिस्टमैटिक्स कह देते हैं. सिस्टमैटिक्स मीन्स वेयर ऑर्गेनिजम्स आर इवोल्यूशनरी रिलेटेड. When we study further, we study, I will quote this thing at some places. The science of classification is termed as taxonomy. The science of classification, and if it is on the basis of evolutionary relationship, it is called systematics. So taxonomy involve different processes. If we are if we are seeing some organisms, what we do, we identify the organism first. We list all the characteristic feature of that organisms, and then on the basis of similarities and difference of those characteristic feature, we classify organism in certain groups. And after that classification, we name them. What name should be? So we will next section we will come on that also. How do we name organisms? Now here you can see taxonomic hierarchy. What we have discussed, kingdom is at the highest taxonomic category. It includes many phylum. Phylum includes class, and class includes many order. Family, order include many family. Family contain many genus, and genus may contain many species. Now we are coming to next section, that is scientific name. Scientific name. There is a need of common type of naming system of an organism. As we know, in our surrounding, we know organisms with different names. Some people belongs to South India, they call organism in some other language, and some belong to North India, they say it's some in other language. So in whole world, this difference become big. So there is a need to make some common type of naming system. For this, Carolus Linnaeus, he developed one system. That system is called binomial nomenclature system. He is a Swedish naturalist, and in this system, he says the name consists of two words. First word is species name, genus name, and second word is species name. What we have seen in earlier slide, last two taxon, genus and species. First word genus name, second word species name. These two words. And while writing this name, we have to follow certain conventions. For example, if we write scientific name of human being, we have to write Homo sapiens. Homo means genus name, species, sapiens means species name. Homo, here the first letter of genus name will be capital, and second word species name first letter would be small. While writing, we have to follow this convention. And also, while writing scientific name, we have to underline it separately when we are writing with our hand, if it is handwritten, and if it is printed, it should be italics. So this convention is followed wherever you see the scientific name is written. If it is printed, it will be in italics.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, one question is coming from a learner, Sangeeta. She is from UP and she is asking what is anaerobic and aerobic respiration.
Yeah. Aerobic respiration, as I told you, some organisms are there, they need oxygen for breaking down of substrate, respiratory substrate like glucose. So in that case, such respiration is called aerobic respiration. And another type of organism, some bacteria are there, when they perform anaerobic respiration, they do not need oxygen for this purpose. So simply they break down substrate into alcohol and other pyruvic acid like this substance, and they don't need in anaerobic respiration actually less amount of energy is yield, and in aerobic respiration more amount of oxygen is obtained. So most of the organisms are aerobic one, and some bacteria are anaerobic. Now we are moving to topic about the classification of human. As we have discussed, the kingdom Animalia, we belong to kingdom Animalia. Then phylum Chordata, subphylum Vertebrata. You can see taxon are there, taxonomic categories are written, and along with taxonomic category, you can see which group we belong. And in last, if we see genus Homo and species Sapiens. So kingdom Animalia, इनके कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स लिखे हैं, ये हम अब आगे पढ़ते जाएंगे. एनिमेलिया कौन होते हैं, कॉर्डेटा कौन होते हैं. तो ये एक ह्यूमन बीइंग का क्लासिफिकेशन एक एग्जांपल के रूप में आपके सामने दिखाया जाए. नाउ फर्दर if we study about classification, three domains were classified earlier. One is Archaebacteria, Eubacteria, and Eukarya. These three groups are classified by Carl Roos, and Archaebacteria are those bacteria which can live in extreme conditions, high temperature, extremely high temperature. And then other type of group, Eubacteria, which do not have well developed nucleus. And third is Eukarya, organism which has nucleus. This is one set of classification. This is known as three domains of classification, system of classification. And further groups are identified. Now, latest what we are studying about five kingdom classification. Earlier, in the Linnaeus time, Carolus Linnaeus time, there were only two kingdom of classification, living world. One is plants and animals. ये कहा जाता था कि ऑर्गेनिज्म जो होंगे वो या तो प्लांट होंगे या एनिमल्स होंगे. लेकिन बाद में ये देखा गया, डॉक्टर R.H. Whittaker has found out that some organisms they do not possess some characteristics of plant, but they are kept in plant. Some organisms they do not contain all the property of animal, but they belong to animal. So that is why one more system of classification was needed, and R.H. Whittaker in 1969 proposed 5 kingdom classification. As you can see in the screen, 5 kingdom, and not only that, if you see the diagram, at the base you can see Monera, and then Protista, then plants. After Protista, you can see 3 groups: plants, animal, and fungi. So these also express evolutionary relationship between them. मोनेरा को सबसे नीचे रखा गया है, एंड यू कैन सी वन ट्री इज इवॉल्विंग. मोनेरा से वो ट्री निकला, और प्रोटिस्टा, देन प्रोटिस्टा से 3 ब्रांचेस आ गई इसकी, वन इज प्लांटे, एनिमेलिया एंड फंजाई. सो इवोल्यूशनरी रिलेशनशिप was also tried to establish here. Now in this on this now on the screen you can see 5 kingdom classification, and what are the basis of those. We can say some basis. First one, we can say organisms are classified as prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Here you can see what is the basis. Type of cell. Type of cell means cell has nucleus or no. If it has no nucleus, prokaryotes, or poorly developed nucleus. It has well developed nucleus, eukaryotes. So prokaryotes and eukaryotes, first of all classified this. All prokaryotes belong to kingdom Monera, which we have seen earlier. 5 kingdom. First one is Monera. Or all prokaryotes, they belong to Monera. Now eukaryotes, organisms having good nucleus, well developed nucleus. Here you can see 2 groups are there further. Some unicellular, multicellular, but organisms has nucleus. If it is unicellular, it is kept in Protista. It is kept in Protista. If it is multicellular, then further it is classified. Unicellular is Protista, but always I say in biology, always some कुछ ऐसी चीजें होती हैं जो हम कई बार उसको एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर सकते. जैसे प्रोटिस्टा एक यूनिसेलुलर ऑर्गेनिज्म है, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है कि यूनिसेलुलर आगे वाले ग्रुप में नहीं मिलेगा. फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर हम फंजाई की बात करते हैं तो जनरली यीस्ट जो होता है वो सिंगल सेल ही होता है, लेकिन वो फंजाई में आ जाता है, प्रोटिस्टा नहीं है. तो उसके अलग कुछ क्राइटेरियाज हैं जिसकी वजह से उसको हमने वहां रखा है. बट मेजर क्लासिफिकेशन इज यूनिसेलुलर एंड मल्टीसेलुलर. Now here you can see multicellular organism is further classified as cell wall is present or without cell wall. If it is,
सर एक क्वेश्चन आ रहा है आशुतोष कृष्णा का, and his question is, what is the difference between cladistics and biosystematics classification?
Cladistics and hello. Biosystematics, what I have told you. Biosystematics. Hello. Biosystematic classification, what I have told you earlier, अभी थोड़ी देर पहले जो बताया, when we establish evolutionary relationship, hello, cladistics is a word which is which refer to evolution recently evolved organisms. For example, when we are studying about monkey and human being, फिशिस, वर्टिब्रेट से जो फिशिस डेवलप हुई, अगर हम ऐसा कुछ स्टडी कर रहे हैं रिसेंटली डेवलप्ड जो है, तो उसको हम क्लाडिस्टिक बोल देते हैं. अदरवाइज वो भी इवोल्यूशनरी, उससे इवोल्यूशनरी उसका एक पार्ट हो सकता है क्लाडिस्टिक इवोल्यूशन. Then 5 kingdom classification में आते हैं दोबारा. Again we are seeing cell wall, without cell wall. Without cell wall, in this case we can see if there is no cell wall, it is animalia, and if it has cell wall, again we can see mode of nutrition. It can perform photosynthesis or not, or able to perform photosynthesis. If it is not able to perform photosynthesis and depends on dead decayed organic matter, it is called fungi. And it is if it is able to perform photosynthesis, it is called able to perform photosynthesis, it is plant. So now from this chart we can say what are the basis of 5 kingdom classification. Number 1, cell type, prokaryote or eukaryote. Number 2, number of cells, unicellular or multicellular. Number 3, cell wall. Cell wall, it is there or not. Number 4, mode of nutrition. It can perform photosynthesis or not. So on this basis we can classify 5 kingdoms. Now first one is kingdom Monera. As I have told you, all the bacteria, they belong to kingdom Monera. All bacteria, they do not have well-defined nucleus. Certain region is there where genetic material is present, and that region is called nucleoid. These organisms are microscopic. You can see with the help of microscope only, and generally do not show multicellularity. And in bacteria, some bacteria are chemotroph, they derive energy from chemicals. Some are autotroph, they perform photosynthesis like Blue algae or cyanobacteria. And some are heterotrophic, like various pathogenic bacteria. Now next is kingdom Protista. In this kingdom, nucleus is there, but organisms are generally unicellular. All organisms are unicellular. Earlier, this kingdom, some member of this kingdom are studied in Animalia, and some members are were studied in plant. But now it is separate kingdom, unicellular organism like Paramecium, amoeba. We have studied these names. These all are Protista. And sometimes we can see certain appendages are there in Paramecium. So many cilia are there, and like this, in some protozoans, flagella is there. So some appendages for movement is also available in there. The organisms are autotrophic as well as heterotrophic. Now kingdom fungi. When we talk about this kingdom is generally multicellular, and important thing is they are saprotrophic. They eats on dead decayed organic matter, and they are formed of thread-like structure called hyphae, which is woven into network called mycelium. ये hyphae से बने होते हैं और hyphae को mycelium की फॉर्म में बुना जाता है. तो इस तरह का कुछ स्ट्रक्चर होता है. And cell wall contain special sugar complex called chitin. Chitin, special type of sugar, special type of cell wall is there. In plant, there is cell wall, but cell wall contain cellulose. But here cell wall contain chitin. And one most common example we see in our surrounding is lichen. Lichen is actually, it's a association, symbiotic association between two different kinds of organism. One is fungi and other is algae. So algae and fungi, they form one association, permanent association. Algae perform photosynthesis, prepare food, and fungi is hygroscopic in nature and it absorb moisture from the surrounding. So lichens, we can see lichens are also pollution indicator. In an area where there is no pollution, we can see lot of lichens. Now characteristic of plants. We are moving to this group, big group, plants. Plants are multicellular, eukaryotic, autotrophic, cell wall made up of cellulose, chloroplast is there. So these are the some common characteristics of kingdom Plantae. Now we are coming to classification of plants. How do we classify plant? Like we have studied 5 kingdoms. We have defined certain bases. What were the bases? If I say number of cell, type of cell, mode of nutrition, like this we have discussed certain bases. Now there are some bases on the basis of which we can classify plant. First of all, we can say kingdom Plantae. Two different parameters we are taking. One is body is not well differentiated. Not well differentiated means we cannot see where is the stem, where is the root, where is the leaf. Likewise, plant body is not differentiated into root, stems and leaves. The appearance of body like thallus, sac-like, thallus. Most of the algae, all the algae belong to this group, and this group is known as Halophyta. Another group, plant body is differentiated. Plant body को differentiate कर दिया. Now again, if plant body is differentiate, we can see two things are there, whether vascular system is present or not. One more thing I want to say, if vascular system is present in the plant, such type of plant is called, the group is called tracheophytes. So bryophyte is there, it do not possess vascular bundle, it is a tracheophyte. And other group which possess vascular bundle. Vascular bundles, vascular tissue means xylem and phloem, the tissues which conduct food and water in the plants. So plant possess vascular tissues. Tracheophytes are these. There. Tracheophytes further they are classified into two, whether they produce seed or not. If the plant do not produce seed, further I want to tell you also above group Halophyta, Bryophyta and Pteridophytes. These all groups they also do not produce any seed, and due to which these three groups Halophyta, Bryophyta and Pteridophyta may be kept in one group which is known as cryptogam. Cryptogam means hidden gamete. We cannot see where is the seed, all the things. So no flower is there. So these three are cryptogam. Pteridophytes do not produce seed, but some characteristics are there which we study in next some slides. Other groups is plant that produce seed. There are two groups which produce seed. One is called gymnosperm and angiosperm. Gymnosperm are those plant which bear naked seed. जिसमें सीड कैसा होता है, हमने अक्सर देखा है, हम फल खाते हैं और सीड निकल के आता है उसमें से. लेकिन अगर ऐसा कोई प्लांट होता है जहाँ सीड फल के अंदर नहीं है, बंद नहीं है, इट इज नेकेड ऑन द प्लांट, ऑन द फ्लावर, that group is gymnosperm. And if it is in the fruit, it is enclosed in the fruit, such group is called angiosperm. Further, some more characteristics are there of each group. We will study in next some slides. First is Halophyta, as I have told you. In these plants, the body is not well differentiated. The group is commonly called as algae and predominantly aquatic. You can see some examples: Spirogyra, Eulothrix, Cladophora, Ulva, Chara. These are some examples. Next group is Bryophyte. Bryophyte is also known as amphibian of the plant kingdom. First of all, we have to clear the term amphibians. Amphibians are the organisms which can live on land and water. Both. Both means they can survive on land, but for reproduction they need water. So Bryophyta lives on land near the water bodies, but it requires water for transfer of, for fertilization or for movement of grains. So water is required in bryophyta. That is why it cannot survive. It cannot reproduce in the absence of water. So amphibians, they live in the vicinity of water bodies. And here the body is differentiated. It is not thallophyte. So we can see stem or leaf-like structure, but not true leaf or true stem. Stem-like or leaf-like structure. There is no specialized tissue for conduction of water, xylem and phloem. That is why it is kept in group A Tracheophyta. Merkensia, Funaria, Rixia, these are the common examples of this group. Next is Pteridophytes. Pteris, pteridophyte. The meaning of this word is pteridophyte, fern-like plant. Fern means feather-like plant. When we observe this plant, the structure appears like feather, and we named it as fern. So pteridophytes are commonly known as fern, but fern is one example here. You can see in the diagram. So plant body is well differentiated into roots, stem and leaves, and these type of organisms are cryptogams. There is no flowering, no seed formation, but they conduct water. Means they are tracheophytes and cryptogams. Tracheophyte means they have specialized tissue for conduction of water, and there is no flowers, so they are cryptogams. Now next group we are moving, gymnosperm. As we have seen in the early chart, two groups are there which produce seed. Seed means if a plant produces seed, those plants are kept in a group called spermatophyta. Which on the other way, if plant do not produce seed, we can say a spermatophyta, a non-spermatophyte. So gymnosperm and angiosperms both produce seed, and they are kept in group spermatophytes. They have seed, but here gymnosperm has means no.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Dear learners, here we will go for a break of 5 minutes and then we will resume it.
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने,
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो,
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो। अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय का है द्वार खुला सबकी खातिर।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर।
शिक्षा और परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर। दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बात,
कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने। हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने। स्वयं बने, हम
Welcome back, learners, after this short break. And over to you, sir, for the live.
Now we were discussing on about plant kingdom, and here we are seeing about gymnosperm. Gymnosperm means plant do not having enclosed seed. The plants of this group are woody plants and usually perennial. They live many years, and if we know some example, these plants are very long trees in the plant kingdom. Cycas, Spinus, Deodar are some example of this group. Now, Angiosperm, last group of the plant kingdom. Angio, this group involve all the plants which bear seeds, and seeds are enclosed in fruit wall. Here, the fruit which in which seeds are enclosed, it develops from ovary, and each seed contains two things. One is embryo and other is cotyledons. Embryo, cotyledons, and stored food material. Cotyledon derives from nutrition for the developing embryo. That is why sometimes we call cotyledon as embryonic leaves. Again, on the basis of number of cotyledon seed possessed, we can identify or classify organisms angiosperm into two groups. One is called monocotyledon, yani single cotyledon is there, or two cotyledon, means dicot. We can see many plants around us which flowers. All such plants which flowers are angiosperm. So this is the one of the important group, and plant which we find out in our surrounding mostly belongs to angiosperm. For previous groups, previous divisions, you can see gymnosperm. You will see some plants in some specific geographical regions. Pteridophytes, you will see these plants in some certain geographical places. Bryophytes and thallophytes. Out of these, angiosperm is the most common plant which you find in your surroundings. So these groups, thallophyte, bryophyte, gymnosperm, angiosperm, and pteridophytes, these all groups are called phylum of the plant kingdom or division of the plant kingdom. Actually, in plant, instead of phylum, we use term division. Certain questions are there which I received. In this first question is coelom and coelentron में अंतर पूछा गया है. coelom or coelentron. Actually, coelom is coelom means cavity. Cavity which is lined by mesoderm. When animal develops, it has three type of germinal layers. Some animals have two germinal layers. So if three germinal layers are there, animals are is known as triploblastic. And in these organisms, generally you find that mesoderm is the middle layer. It forms cavity and pouch-like cavity, and this cavity is coelom. Whereas coelentron means antron means gut, yani alimentary canal. Cele means body cavity, where alimentary canal is the body cavity. Especially this is find out in Coelenterata group. There is one phylum Coelenterata in Animalia. So here we can see coelentron. The coelom is actually true coelom, which is lined by mesoderm, and coelentron in Coelenterata there are only two germinal layers. One is endoderm and ectoderm. The endoderm, the cavity, gut cavity is lined by endoderm. So there coelentron is referred. Another question is there. Define the term hierarchy in classification. Hierarchy को हम ऐसे समझ सकते हैं where one big group contains one big group contains some small groups, and then that small groups contain still some smaller groups. तो likewise जैसे हमने अभी डिस्कस किया, kingdom एक बड़ा ग्रुप है. All the phylums, for example, plant kingdom is there. We have studied plant kingdom. In this kingdom, we can see 5 halophyte, bryophyte, pteridophyte, gymnosperm, and angiosperm. These 5 divisions or phylum. So this is hierarchy. One kingdom, plant kingdom, it contains all the divisions. Next question is there. Why bryophytes are amphibians of plant kingdom? Bryophytes को हम amphibian क्यों बोलते हैं? अभी थोड़ी देर पहले ही हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे इसको. Bryophytes generally they require water for their reproduction. They live in the vicinity or nearby areas of water, like where what in the pond you can see at the rim of pond bryophytes are there. On the wall where water is there, because they require water for gamete movements. So they can live both place where water is there, and also they need terrestrial surface for developing. Next is plant and animals both are living organisms, but they are placed in different kingdoms. Why? And explain the basis also. Simple. Earlier we have discussed 5 kingdom classification. In that, plant and animals. Plant we have discussed on the basis of there are some basis. I have told you about number of cell, type of cell, mode of nutrition, and number of cell, mode of nutrition, and cell wall. So basically, plants and animals they get different on the basis of cell wall. Animal do not possess cell wall. Plant possess cellulosic cell wall. Secondly, plant about mode of nutrition, plants are autotrophic and animals are heterotrophic. All plants possess chloroplast, chlorophyll, and they perform photosynthesis. And plants, animals cannot do that. On the basis of mode of nutrition and cell wall, they can be differentiated. Some animals have mammary gland but lay eggs. Why not they give birth to the child like human? Actually, these animals, these are we can say two groups are there: birds and mammals. So these groups, these animals are at the transitory period or boundary line period, we can say, boundary line animals. They are developing, or we can say they are in the process of developing. Likewise, we can see examples are very limited, such animals. What is the significance of diversity among organisms? Yes, this is a good question. Diversity क्यों होती है, क्यों होनी चाहिए, या क्या इसका महत्व क्या है? Diversity is required, first of all, to maintain equilibrium, to make the stability of life at a place. Diversity is required. More forms of life, living beings are there in a place, and we can say the nature will be there for more time, and stability, productivity of that area will be more. For example, अगर हम समझ सकते हैं ऐसे, एक क्रॉपलैंड है, क्रॉपलैंड में जहाँ पे राइस या वीट का ही खेत है, राइस का ही फील्ड है, वो हमने राइस ही ग्रो किया और कोई प्लांट हमने वहाँ पे ग्रो करने की कोशिश नहीं की, दैट इज क्रॉपलैंड. दैट फील्ड इज एक्चुअली less biodiverse. Only one type of crop is there. If anyhow some adverse climatic condition is there, and if there is destruction of crops, crop destroyed due to some climatic condition, then what happens? The productivity or vegetation in that area become nil. If different types of plants are available in that place, and in adverse conditions, some of them may survive. And in one condition, if that type of plant they get finished off, then other plant they may survive and they may flourish in that area. So productivity or sustainability of life will be there. That is why diversity is required. One question is there. A larva is frog-like fish, but adult become different. This question, the larva frog-like is fish, but adult become different. Why? Because frogs are generally amphibians. They need water for their survival. They lay eggs in water, and when egg hatches, larva is produced, and that larva require some adaptive features like fishes. It possesses gills, it has tail, but ultimately genetic composition is like that of frog. It comes out and develop as frog. So here we can say one more thing is there. Ernest Haeckel has explained that when we develop during ontogeny, we express our phylogeny. Means ontogeny means during embryonic development, we express our evolutionary trend. When embryo develops, when human embryo develops, first of all, it appears like embryo of fishes, then embryo of amphibians, like this, embryo of reptiles, like this. It so trend. So this is the one recapitulation theory from Ernest Haeckel who proposed this. So on the basis of that, we can also see the frogs or amphibian, they come out from the water, from the water, and during that transitory period, they so exhibit such characteristics. Next question is why amoeba is called immortal organism. Immortal means the organism which do not die. Actually, amoeba is single-celled organism, and it always divide. Binary fission is there. It becomes 2, then becomes 4, then becomes 8. There is no death of organism. Before that, it divides into 2 amoeba, and when these 2 amoeba they develop, after some time they again divide into 2. So we cannot see death of organism. That is why they are referred as immortal organisms. Write the correct method of writing biological name. Little before I have discussed that biological name consists of two words. First word is called genus name, and other is species name. First word, the first letter of first word should be capital. The first letter of second word should be smaller, and when it is handwritten, they should be underlined separately. And when it is printed, it should be printed in italics. This is the correct method. What are the pneumatic bones? Pneumatic bones means hollow bones. Bones are light in weight, and such bones are found in birds. This is one adaptive feature, and that is why the body of the bird is light in weight and they can fly easily. Now we are moving to our next topic, kingdom Animalia.
Sir, one more question is there, sir. Hello. Sir, one
Yes,
question
sir.
is coming. What is the main difference between Plantae and Thallophyta?
Plantae and
Thallophyta.
Thallophyta is a division of Plantae, kingdom Plantae. Thallophyta has all the features which plant has, but other groups are there. Like along with Thallophyta, we have studied some other groups, Pteridophyta, Bryophyta. These are also groups of plants. But in Thallophyta, what we see, these are the special type of plant in which the body is not differentiated into leaf, stem, and leaves. Body is not differentiated, thallus-like body, and they are found mostly found in water, which we have discussed. Thallophyta is a division of plant group. Now we are coming topic
सर
kingdom
थोड़ा सा
Animalia.
साउंड देखेंगे सर.
अभी आ रहा था. Now we are moving to kingdom Animalia. The characteristics of this group is eukaryotic. They are multicellular, heterotrophic, and their cells do not have cell wall, and mostly they are mobile. They can move. So these are the common features, characteristics of kingdom Animalia. When we see this chart, again like plant, we have to find out certain basis of classification of animals. When we see animal classification, first of all you can see level of organization. Cellular level, tissue level. Cellular level organization is found in Porifera, first phylum, Porifera. Then comes tissue level of organization. Again, tissue is there. Then we again go to next basis, that is body cavity. Body cavity is there or not? True body cavity is there, or true body or false body cavity. False body cavity means it is not lined by mesoderm or formed by some other germinal layers like this. So we, on the basis of if there is no body cavity, we can say two groups, Coelenterata and Platyhelminths. Again, if there is false body cavity, we can say nematodes. And if it is body cavity is true, then we come to next basis. Now we are discussing about animal classification, and what are the bases we are observing here. You can see organisms. Basis is level of organization, body cavity. Third is about present or absent of notochord. If chordates notochord is present, then also we can see vertebrata, any vertebral column is present or not. Or further, in vertebrata we can classify organism on the basis like they lay eggs, or they have scales on the body or hairs on the body. Like this, on the basis, certain basis, we can classify whole animal kingdom. Some important phylums I am showing on the screen. Porifera, these are marine organisms. Important thing is canal system is present in this, and they are freshwater as well as marine. And some example are sponges. Pores are available in present on their body. Next is coelentrates. As I have discussed little bit earlier, body cavity, gut is the body cavity of these organisms, and hydra is the one most common example. Jellyfish, sea anemone are the most common example of this group. Next is platyhelminthes. Mostly they are parasitic. They are also called flatworm. Platyhelminthes means flatworm. Body is dorsoventrally flattened. That is why they are known as platyhelminthes. Body is triploblastic, as I have discussed. 3 germinal layers are there. Bilaterally symmetrical means it can be 2 mirror halves can be obtained of these organisms. Next is nematodes. We know about ascaris. Ascaris ऐसे एक worm है जो जनरली छोटे बच्चों के कई बार worm की प्रॉब्लम होती है पेट में worms, तो वो ये worm है ascaris, and these are also parasitic, bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, and they cause various disease problems like elephantiasis and all this. Another group is Annelida. Annelida means segmented body having annular rings on the body surface, annular rings, as we see in earthworm. So these groups belong to Annelida, and their features, same features are there. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, and coelomate, but segmented body and excretory organs present in these are Nephridia. Earthworm and leeches are the most common example of this group. Next is Arthropoda. This is the largest phylum. Arthropoda. All the insects, they belong to this group, and they have jointed appendages. Appendages, when we see, it is jointed by arthroidal membrane. Arthropoda. Example, many insects, mosquitoes, all these things are arthropoda. Then comes mollusca, second largest phylum of the animal kingdom. Again, same, these are also non-chordate invertebrates, bilateral symmetrical, little segmentation, and soft-bodied animals, and generally covered with shell-like structure, like snail, you can see, pila, you can see. So mollusca, second largest phylum of animal kingdom. Next comes Echinodermata. Echino means होता है spiny. Derm means skin. Invertebrate having spiny skins are referred as Echinodermata. They are all are marine. They live in sea and oceans only. Starfish is the most common example of this group. Then comes chordates. It's another phylum, and in this chordate is the important phylum. Here, the important feature is notochord is present in the body. Notochord, a cartilaginous nerve cord. It's a pre-structure of nerve cord, and it develops into spinal cord later on, protects it. In some, notochord develop into vertebral column, and those organisms is referred as vertebrates. Vertebrates, all the chordates have dorsal hollow nerve cord and gill slits in the pharynx and post-anal tail. Among the chordate, we are interested in vertebrates only. In vertebrate, two vertebral columns are present, and if we see vertebrates, they are classified into different classes.
Sir, kindly sum up, sir.
बस सर 2 मिनट दीजिए. The cyclostomes, these are the groups of vertebrates, and other mentioned groups are Pisces, amphibian, reptile, and aves and mammals. There are so many different features of these groups, which we can say. See, Cyclostomes, Dawless vertebrates. Example is lamprey and myxine. Then come Pisces. You have heard about fishes. All fishes are belong to this class Pisces. They are aquatic. Scales are there, and gills are present. Muscular tail is there, cold-blooded, and they have only two chambers of heart. Next is amphibia. What we have discussed about frogs. They can live in both in water and land. Three-chambered heart, and they lay eggs in water but develop on land. Then comes reptilia. These are cold-blooded organisms having scales on the body surface. Snakes, turtle, lizard, and crocodiles are the most common example of these. Then comes aves. You know birds. All birds belong to this class. These are warm-blooded, four-chambered heart, and you know they lay eggs covered with feathers like this. Mammals. Next class is Mammalia, and we all belong to this class, warm-blooded animals. We have four-chambered heart, and the mammary glands are there to produce milk. Skin has hair, and they produce live young ones. Now, as we have discussed, why to conserve biodiversity? Because biodiversity provides us various ecosystem services, which we can see on the screen. Pollination of flower, recycle organic matter. So many organisms are there so that we can perform these activities. So there is a need of why to conserve biodiversity. How to conserve biodiversity? We can see zoo, botanical garden. These are the efforts of human beings to conserve biodiversity. On off-site mode and on-site mode, in situ conservation. We can see some biosphere reserves are there, sacred groves are there. So where animals are kept in their natural habitat. So we can see certain points for recapitulation chapter what we have studied.
Thank you, learners. I hope you people have enjoyed it. And we will see you after just a short break. Our expert for the senior secondary class has joined. So see you after a short break.